Hey everyone, welcome to the Gies Current Student Panel today. We're very excited to have you here. I am going to give everybody just another moment here to join us. Actually, as you're joining, I'm going to pull up our new, brand new shiny website to make sure everybody's got that. That way you have this in the chat as a good resource to check out some of these things that we'll be talking about today. All right, it looks like people are kind of slowly joining us. I did throw that our website in the chat. My name is Kate Deering. I am an assistant director within Gies Online Programs. Very excited to be here. I work in the recruitment and the admissions space. I spend a bit more time in the recruitment space, so hopefully you've seen my face and heard my voice before on some of our other webinars. But today is a really special webinar because we have some of our current students here. So anytime we have the chance to get our students in front of you and be able to answer your questions and share their experience in the program, these are usually really successful events, and I think time well spent. So I just want to point out on your screen there is a QR code if you're interested in reaching out to us, or we will actually reach out to you if you fill out that short form, and we'll have one of our admission counselors reach out to you. I think just a few housekeeping items. We do have the Q&A open, so if you have questions, go ahead and throw them there. That way we can all see the questions. All of our panelists can answer those as well. And then just save the chat for comments and well wishes if that works for you. Usually that goes pretty well for these presentations. So I'm just going to move on to our agenda and kind of get started here a little bit slowly, just so I'm mindful of our time. Hopefully we'll spend about the next 45 minutes or so together. But here's our agenda. We are going to talk a little bit about Gies as a whole. I'm just going to give you a little bit of an overview, just to kind of give you a feel for where we're coming from and why we've built these programs. Then we're going to meet our ambassadors. We're going to spend the meat of our time, the bulk of our time with our ambassadors, Troy Whitehead, Chelsea Doman, and Dinesh Karanam. And on your screen, you can see they're going to focus in on kind of certain aspects of our program. So hopefully that's going to answer a lot of your questions during their part of the presentation. And then if we have time at the end, we'll get through some details about specific programs, if that works for you, and then any application questions as well. And we'll have plenty of time for a Q&A at the end. So before we get to our ambassadors, I just wanted to first give you a quick overview of Gies business and explore a little bit about what being part of Gies Online means. We're going to hear from our students a lot about what it means to be part of Gies as a whole, but I did want to just share a couple things as far as what we built this program on. And so to start, I think the first kind of pillar I wanted to talk about was the flexibility of Gies Online. And by flexible, we mean that we are 100% online with all of the credentials that we offer. This means that there's absolutely no travel requirements. In addition to your already busy schedule, you also have access to all of your group projects and live sessions via the comforts of your home or vacation or wherever you're traveling for work at that time. We're also flexible in giving you power over your degree plan. So I think this is kind of a unique aspect of our program, in that there's no real specific degree plan that you have to follow. This is your degree, and you're in charge of what order you take your courses. Of course, there's a couple of courses that you might have to take in a specific order, but you really get to choose your path, choose your elective choices, or your specialization, your focus areas that you follow. So really flexible in that way. Couple other flexible options: you determine your pace that you move through your classes. You can take one course or two, and I'm sure we'll talk about this here in a moment. But depending on your schedule, how busy you are at work, or maybe you're having an addition to your family, or perhaps you have some kind of health, you have to take a little bit of a break because of a health condition. We're really flexible, and we'll work with you on that. You can take an 8-week term off and and kind of reacclimate yourself and get yourself ready to study again. We're totally fine with that. And we know that we're just being realistic, and everybody has a lot of stuff going on in their lives. So, and then one other thing as far as flexibility is that the way that we bill our tuition, we have a pay-as-you-go tuition model. So you only pay for each course that you're registered for. So there's no lump sum payment. You don't have to pay for everything up front. So that's really nice. It's kind of a little bit of a financial planning tool built right in for you. So as far as the next pillar, we'll talk a little bit about stackability. And by that, we mean that our credentials and our online programs, they stack and they work together. So wherever you're at in your learner journey, we have an option for you. So this next slide actually will kind of give you a good visual of the stackable options, but we have so many different credentials to meet you where you're at in your learner journey. As far as, like, you could start with a Coursera MOOC, then you could try one of our courses, our 4-credit-hour course. You could stack that into a graduate certificate, and then eventually kind of move into the degree space. So a lot of options there as far as the stackability. And then lastly, online by design. So we actually launched the IMBA program back in 2016, and it was designed to be delivered to thousands of learners worldwide. So we specifically came up with the way that we deliver information, how that comes together, and how we bring our students together as far as networking. And that was all specifically thought out way back then. So we're pretty established in this space. We have a great teaching and learning team. Our faculty is amazing, but we really have a great plan in place, and it's been really going well since the origin. And we added the IMSM program back in 2021. So we kind of keep adding on to a pretty successful program already, because we're pretty good at it. So we have a great outline to work with. This next slide just focuses in a little bit on the stackable build, or that second pillar, the stackability pillar that we just talked about. And this slide represents all of those building blocks. Oops, sorry about that. All the building blocks that we offer. So that first little box is just taking one MOOC on Coursera, which we'll talk about in the next slide. But Coursera is a large educational platform. That's one of the components that we work into our courses. So you could start there. You could actually enroll and take one 4-credit-hour course with us as a non-degree student, which is a great way to start off, great way to try out a course, see if you like it. If you like that, maybe you stack that into the next building block, which is a graduate certificate, which is 12 credit hours, where you can really develop a domain mastery of that specific area. So just a great way to kind of learn in something like strategic leadership and management, or maybe you just want to do a little bit of a focus in on taxation. We have 8 current graduate certificates with several more coming here shortly. So, and then that last larger kind of cube is our master's degrees, and all of those graduate certificates can stack into our master's degrees. So you have 12 credit hours done, which is pretty awesome. And so through all of these, they all complement each other. They really allow you the option to develop your knowledge. And then lastly, they're really outcome driven. And I know when we hear from our ambassadors here in just a moment, one thing you'll hear is how the learning and how their degree has impacted their life, as well as their careers and their day-to-day jobs. So that's just a little bit about the stackability. 2 more slides. I just wanted to cover how we structure our courses, because I know this is a common question. There's 2 components, and the first component is the Coursera component. These are non-credit MOOCs, so massive online open courses that you'll find on the Coursera platform. Hopefully you're familiar with that. If you're not, check it out. These are asynchronous courses that are going to give you career-aligned training. You can earn a digital certificate if you actually pay the subscription fee. If you're taking them just outside of Gies, you would enroll through Coursera, and then you would earn that digital certificate. So, these are made up of pre-recorded videos, some self-assessed quizzes. There'll be some kind of reading assignments and peer evaluations. In addition to the Coursera component is going to be your high engagement component that we're going to talk much more about today. This is going to build upon that MOOC knowledge that you're learning in our courses. So our 4 credit hour courses have 2 MOOCs built into them, a 4-week and a 4-week in the 8-week term. And those are going to also include, in addition to the MOOCs, you're going to have live weekly lectures in front of your faculty, just like we are in this kind of Zoom setting. You're going to have group projects that we're going to hear about. You're going to have lots of discussions, case study reviews. You'll get to go to faculty office hours and be, talking with your professors. So adding in that high engagement component to that asynchronous Coursera part is really where you're going to, take the learning that the foundational material into the real world, where you're going to have those real world projects and scenarios that you're going to work through with your groups and your fellow students. So that's just an overview of how we work our courses, the Coursera component and the high engagement component. But now I think I really want to get to our ambassadors to be able to kind of tell you in their own words a little bit more about where they came from, what, why they chose their degree. And then each of them are going to kind of focus on a little bit of a different aspect of the program. And then they will all tell us a little bit about kind of the effects that they've seen on their careers and their life so far from their learning and from their degree program. So I'm going to turn it over to Troy Whitehead, our first ambassador. He is going to talk with us and share a little bit about his background. And Troy, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Oh, thank you, Kate, and good morning, good evening, whatever time zone you happen to be in. Today, my name is Troy Whitehead, and that's my Topper dog. My dog Topper, I should say, my Topper dog. My dog Topper, he is a German short hair, and he is part of our family. We live in the Chicago area. To give you a little bit about my background, I am presently a vice president for Gies International. Gies International is the world's largest supplier of inventory and merchandising solutions, primarily focused in the retail space, but we also work in warehouses, in hospitals, in all sorts of different consumer-driven environments. The easy way to describe that is if you've ever walked into a store, and this is not just in the United States, but worldwide, and you see folks with the blue polos going around counting the inventory with the machines, that's us. That's who we are. So nobody's ever heard of us, but that's when I mention it, everybody knows who we are. I've been with the company for 27 plus years. I've been vice president of 2 of our verticals. I've been fortunate enough to have a pretty high degree of success within the organization, and I'm very happy in the position I'm in. I started my career out of college in the retail sector, started in a retail store, worked my way up into multi-unit management, and then after 13 years of that, jumped into Gies International, and again, 27 plus years later, I've been with Gies. Also owned part of a restaurant at one time. So a lot of background in the service sector, but primarily obviously in the inventory and the retail support space. My bachelor's degree is from Southern Illinois. I grew up on the south side of Chicago. Dad was a steel worker. Mom worked in the factories on the south side. If you're familiar with Chicago, you know what I'm talking about. But if not, the south side of Chicago was where the mills and all the factories were. I also have a human resources certification from Texas Tech University in part of my travels through the years. Why did I join the program? Especially given where I'm at in my career and my age and everything. I'm a firm believer in sharpening the saw. And one of the things I share with folks is that you can really tell an individual by how they self-develop. Are they growing themselves? Are they developing their knowledge base, and are they getting better at what they do? I take career and I usually equate it to athletics. Athletes are always looking to get better. How do I run a little faster or lift a little more, throw a little harder? Well, as my business and as someone that has, I have 67 management reports and about 7,000 employees. How can I better serve them? How can I be better for them? And how can I do my job better? Well, that's sharpening the saw, one of the 7 habits. So I believe in self-development. I believe in sharpening the saw. we made a very strategic M&A a couple of years ago, and we brought over a larger company than us, and I was part of the integration team. And the wave of folks that came over, the next wave, there were some sharp folks in that room. And I really felt like I needed to grow, because if I wanted to earn my spot in that room and earn that, I needed to get better. And one of the things I wanted to do was go to a great school that I knew had a great reputation, that could give me the knowledge to make me comfortable in that space and lead those folks. And Illinois was my choice. And I'm very happy I made that choice. People are coming into the organization with some very strong skills. And if I'm going to lead them and give them something, I've got to be able to provide that. So that matters a lot to me. I'll retire in a couple of years. And my wife laughs because I'll never really retire. But I'm going to teach and consult. And not because I need, not like I don't need money. We all need money, but I want to give back. I want to help folks be successful and grow their careers and share my experiences, be a bit of a sage, as it were, in giving back to individuals and businesses and just folks to help them be better at what they do. And if I can plant a seed or 10 years from now, look back at someone and say, wow, you really went far with that. I'm flattered and I'm honored to have been part of that success and helping you get there. That means something to me now, as I've kind of been through years of business. So talk about the live classes and breakout sessions. The live sessions, one of the first takeaways I had when I started, and I'm a little over halfway through, I'll walk next May. I'm very happy I am going to walk, and I'm wearing my Illini hat. I am an Illini. It's not a Zoom conference where you're being lectured on a PowerPoint slide and that's it, and you take notes and you shut down. It's incredibly interactive. And the intent of the professors is to stir debate during those live sessions. It's great. I actually make it a point to schedule my work life around the live debates so I can do them, because I really get a lot out of interaction during the lectures. So it's a sharing of knowledge. And the chat room part of the debates or the live sessions is probably one of my favorite parts, because on top of the questions and the Q&As and everything with the professors in the live session, there's a chat room going on. And the other professor that's involved is answering the chats. And there's incredible give and take and dialogue in those chats. So it's a great part of the course, and really happy for that. The group assignments, and I always reference the Everest climb. And we were told this was in the team leadership and learning class that I took. It was the first one I took in my time with Gies. And one of the components was working with Harvard Business. And we did a simulated climb up Mount Everest. And the intent was, as a group of 5 folks, and we had folks from India, Johannesburg, Chicago, Pittsburgh, and Columbia were my 5 groups. So worldwide, as far as their views, communication, everything else. We had a 3-hour simulated climb where we were each assigned a particular task. One was the physician, one was the lead, one was a professional mountain climber. I was the person in the tent helping guide everyone. So I could communicate, but I couldn't do anything. And it taught me so much. And I've shared my experience with my COO regarding what I learned from that simulation. I was able to immediately take what I learned and use it that Monday, when I did my first group call of the week with my work group. It challenged my ability to lead and communicate. And it was a fantastic experience. Probably one of those things I'll never forget. So, the global cohort, it's a unique part of the experience. You're working with folks around the globe. And as I shared with the Everest simulation, working with a person from Johannesburg and Colombia and, 2 people from the United States, you're working with folks that are very knowledgeable, very driven, and between learning to communicate differently, interacting with folks with different cultural things, you really it's a much more holistic approach than just taking a class. So, and then as Kate shared earlier, there are multiple components to a class. Canvas is the high engagement part between the lectures and the assignments and the work inside of Canvas. And then that's coupled with the Coursera 2 4-week MOOCs. And each one of those 4 weeks, you're going to have a MOOC assignment, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, and then the second phase that corresponds to the week in Canvas. And you work through that on top of group assignments. So like the Everest simulation was a group assignment. And every one of the classes has a group component in which you interact with your group and, you complete whatever task or whatever assignment needs to happen for that particular class. And then there are peer reviews. So part of the component is your peers that you were assigned to the group with assess how you did. And, did you carry your weight? Did you add value to the group? It's a great feedback mechanism to help you get to know, how did your peers see you and how did you interact? So grading takes all of those components into consideration, and you have to earn it. It's not easy. You're at Illinois. It's one of the top universities in the world. So, but they're fair and they're challenging, and I've enjoyed it immensely so far. And this is my wife and my oldest son. My oldest son was a professional soccer player, so we're a soccer family. As you know from the ROI, the cost of the program is very competitive. Illinois has made it. Their phrase they use is they're democratizing education, and it's for what you're getting, it's an unbelievable experience. But the value is way beyond the cost. The folks that I've met and worked with in my groups and in the classes are some of the brightest folks I've ever met. Again, you're in a very high level environment, and it makes you step up your game. The materials, whether it be Canvas, Coursera, everything, are very challenging and very relevant. I have taken things I've learned and again, I lead 2 large verticals, the 2 largest verticals of our organization. And I learn from them and I take them to work. And, my boss is an MBA from Columbia, and he and I banter back and forth about things. And part of my ability to work with someone at that level is because of what I've learned here. And the professors are masters. I've yet to run into a professor that I haven't walked away thinking, man, they're good. So it's a great experience. And it's an immediate impact on my day-to-day job. It's given me more confidence. It's given me more knowledge and helps me serve my team better. So I couldn't have made a better choice. And I'm flattered. And I wear my Illini hat, my Illini shirt with pride. So.
Thanks, Troy. That was awesome. Yes, one thing you will notice is that our Gies students love swag, and they wear their shirts and their hats and their pins very proudly. So we always have lots and lots of gear that everybody kind of shows off. So that was great, Troy. I am going to keep this going, and we're going to have plenty of time for questions here at the end. So keep your questions for Troy or throw them in the chat or the Q&A right now. But we're going to turn it over to Chelsea Doman next. Chelsea.
All right. Hello, everyone. As Kate said, my name is Chelsea Doman. I am originally from Illinois. I have moved around a fair amount, both inside of the United States and outside as well. And I am happy to be back in the Midwest now, and I live in Wisconsin for the foreseeable future. I earned my undergrad in linguistics at Brigham Young University in Utah, which is in the western half of the United States. And, like many folks, I did not actually go into my undergrad field for my career. I somehow spent a decade in the oil and gas industry, really loved it, focusing on pipeline integrity. And I have also worked in educational advocacy, project management, and IT operations. And right now, like Troy, I work for a company that is huge and everywhere, and no one has ever heard of us, but you probably have our battery under the hood of your car. So I work there now as a global analytics BI manager. I started in the MBA program last January, and as mentioned, I'm over 20 years into a rather diverse career. And could I accomplish my goals without an MBA? Yes, I believe so, because I am persistent and a quick learner, but I felt an MBA would be a catalyst to reaching my goals faster, both by validating my experiences to this point, as well as open doors to new areas of learning I may not pursue myself. So the major qualifiers that I looked for in a program were rooted in affordability, flexibility in scheduling, and the credibility of the university. So based on what has been said already, it's no surprise that I was led to Illinois when those were some of my main factors. So discovering the flexibility and the affordability at Gies College of Business was really a dream come true for me. And then the fact that it was a school in Illinois just provided a full circle moment for me, being a native from there. And then the program itself has just been beyond expectation. Next slide, thank you. Oh, there you go, yes. So on a more personal side, I am the single parent of 4 kids and an overgrown lapdog who apparently is the cousin to Troy's German short hair topper. So this is Angus, he's a wire hair pointing griffin. And like the company I work for, nobody has ever heard of the breed of dog I have either. So I love to travel, garden, do home projects, read, and practice yoga. I also make it a point to volunteer regularly for a few different organizations. And you might think I don't sleep with doing school as well, but it's all about time management. Time management is probably the area I have coached all of my employees on the most. So this really is an ongoing universal challenge, even without school to consider. So I will also add that I have ADHD. So using my time in the best way is particularly challenging. And I just set this up to show you that I have so much on my plate. I understand how daunting it can be to add schoolwork to an already full plate. And so this program at Gies is unique because it really sets you up for success in the best way. So I do have a few recommendations as you are considering and hopefully deciding to pursue here at the school. The first is try before committing. So of course, it depends on the material, but I spend anywhere from 7 to 15 hours per week on school, sometimes more. This includes preparation, the actual class, and homework, which could be individual or group projects. I do think I spend a little more time on the material than some of my classmates because school has become my favorite hobby. So I really like to marinate in the material. And the amount of time does have an impact on my availability in the rest of my life. So keeping my priorities clear, though, helps me to check that balance I keep of school versus family and social time. For example, sometimes I am late to a live class because someone needs some extra attention at bedtime. So, as Kate mentioned, you can hop on Coursera and you could challenge yourself by trying to finish a certain amount of material within a specific time frame. I myself did a week-long certification course before I even knew about Gies. And that gave me a preview of how it felt to manage work, school, parenting, and everything else. So it definitely, if you have any trepidation about the time commitment, go ahead and check out Coursera. So, but taking that course actually is what gave me the confidence to finally pursue my MBA. It was busy, but I decided it could be manageable. So that leads into my second point here of pace yourself. You know, I wanted a program that didn't require me to drive long distances or to spend all weekend in the classroom. So flexibility was completely critical for me. And the iDegrees program is set up so that you can schedule school in the way that best fits the demands of your life. So besides my office and my couch, I have joined class and watched Coursera content from airports and locations all around the country. Each live class is offered at 3 different times during the week. The same content is covered. All 3 sessions are recorded. So when it is impossible to actually attend the live class, you do have the videos available, which is also great if you just need to review material for your own benefit. So I would say grad school is like running a marathon, not a 100-yard dash. And like running a long distance, you go at the pace that works best for your abilities. So some folks finish the MBA in 18 months and others in 5 years. So you can't worry about the people who are running faster. Just let them. That's part of the benefit of the program. I myself typically take only 1 4-credit class per 8-week term. And I even took a term off because with 4 kids, baseball season in my house is just next level. So I will complete my MBA in a total of 3 years or perhaps 3.5 years. I have not firmly decided that yet, and that's completely okay. So there's just complete flexibility, which is truly a gift. So the last recommendation that I would just point out, or the last point, is you can really make it your own. So the programs at Gies use a combination, as we've talked about, of the recorded lectures on Coursera and the live classes. And you hear them, you hear this talk of high engagement. And before starting the program, I was not quite sure how an online lecture could be engaging, much less high engagement. So I signed up to attend one of those mock live classes that are occasionally offered. And to my chagrin, the topic was marketing. And I went into that class saying, marketing. And the hour flew by. And afterwards I was saying, marketing, okay. So I was blown away at how wonderfully intense and yet engaging the session was. And the breakout sessions are now a favorite of mine as I get to better connect with the other learners around the world. So I believe you'll get out as much as you put in. If you're prepared for class, you can follow the presentation better. You can contribute in a more positive way in the breakout sessions. If you're active on the workplace platform, which is the social media platform we all use, you will connect with other learners outside class. If you attend office hours, you connect with professors. If you have the ability or the opportunity to travel to campus to participate in events, or just at another time, you can connect with the school. So all of these undertakings help you understand the material, as well as give you the opportunity to help others learn and to make lifelong connections. So final slide there, Kate. Thank you. I would say the immediate benefit has been a much better understanding of just general goings on in the workplace. As I mentioned last year, I just switched from IT operations to analytics. And I would say I did that with a greater confidence due to the knowledge gained thus far. The biggest benefit actually has been a bit of a surprise to me. Funnily enough, increasing my network was actually my lowest priority in pursuing an MBA. I also thought that an online school would not bring many opportunities to network, and at the time felt that was fine. But I would say the connections I am making here have become the most important aspect of school, aside from the knowledge, but it's just been such a happy bonus for me. So people do make the difference, and that's been particularly true in my experience at Gies. I have been amazed and humbled by the generosity of my classmates as well as my professors. This program, as I mentioned, it's been beyond my expectations, and I really believe Gies is a special and unique place. I'm still deciding how I want to best capitalize my MBA after graduation. I am not 2 years away from retirement like Troy, got a few more than that. There are a few different paths I am interested in, but I would say right now I'm confident that with the knowledge I am gaining and the connections I am making, my time at Gies College of Business is preparing me in the best way to ultimately find success in the opportunities I pursue.
Thanks, Chelsea. I love those pictures too. Such a great perspective on being a busy mom and handling the program. So I really appreciate you sharing that part of it. Okay, so that is kind of took us through the flexibility angle and working these programs into your life. So let's take it to Dinesh, who's going to share a little bit more about his background and then maybe how engaging the program is, as well as the networking, kind of opportunities that we offer too. There are a lot of them, but sometimes I think people don't know it's a virtual program. So he's going to share a little bit about that. So Dinesh, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thanks, Kate. Can you guys able to hear me? Good. So again, guys, my name is Dinesh, and I'm going to make Kate to click multiple. So I'm from India. And I'm living in Chicago currently, almost last 25 years. Never moved outside of Chicago, more than 2 miles of radius. I work at a consulting company, which is a managing consulting company called Capgemini, France-based. And I work as a senior consultant, a senior director. And I mainly focus on the strategy side of it. I will tell you guys how the course helped me to move to the strategy side of it. I was not on strategy consulting before. The course actually helped me to move to the strategy side of it. I was also the co-founder and product innovator for a startup. I built 2 products. I sold those 2 products, and there was 2 startups. One got failed, one I was able to succeed. Then my background education perspective is a little bit different than Troy and Chelsea. So I did the executive certification at MIT for 2 years. And that was mainly focused on the strategy and innovation. And then I did my master's in computers for 3 years course. That's a master's degree. So MBA was my second master's. And then I did my BSc computers, again, the bachelor's, again, same in the computers as well. So I'm in the same field. I'm utilizing the computers from the beginning of my career, and I'm still in the same thing. Only thing is I grew up in the leadership roles perspective. Okay, that's my education. Then keep going, Kate. So what is the main objectives for me? I have grown into my career and I had a good salary, whatever it is I needed in my career for my age, that's good for it. But still, I wanted to be the business leader. If you guys can think through it, I started a startup and I failed a couple of things and I was able to succeed. So my passion is actually to become as a business leader rather than a pure technical member of it. So I was completely on the computer science and IT, sitting in front of the keyboard, hitting the keyboard left and right. So instead of that, I wanted to be the business leader and the owner of a company at some point of time, maybe in the CXO group of it. That's my ambition perspective. Then the second one is I have go through last 20 years, worked with various CXOs, almost I can say top 20 Fortune companies, more or less I work with them in some capacity. At some point of time, I still have a passion. We call it as a hunger in the belly. So I still have that passion, but how do I able to elevate it? It's not like just writing a good program or good things of it, but we need to have resources. We need to have certain templates or guidance to go through it. Okay, that is my potential to come out of it. Then, of course, on the career advancement, right? I became more fatter in a way. The reason is I'm getting more responsibilities, but I want to go up in the ladder. So that's, in my point of view, the career advancement is that. Okay, I can take more responsibilities to deliver it, but I want to move one level higher of it. Okay, then why Gies? Okay, I went through, you guys saw me MIT. I went for a small course even in Harvard. I did a course in Stanford. I attended some few sample courses in Kellogg's as well for University of Chicago. So I can give you guys the perspective of it, why I choose this one. The first thing is reputation, the prestige of it. I looked into it. I'm not losing anything because I looked into the other colleges, course perspective and the case methods perspective. Everything is same. So what am I missing? So why do I need to pay $85,000 or $120,000 per year versus if I'm spending the whole course itself, I'm getting it for half of it or 1/4 of it, not even half, right? Then the second one is a flexibility and work-life balance. I'm already on the road always because of the consulting work. I will be in one day in France, one day in UK, one day in India, one day in Amsterdam. It's crazy. So I need to balance my work as well as I want to spend time with my family and also I want to have a leisure time. Okay. So this gives me the good thing for wherever I can able to plan for it. The third one, actually, I looked into again the curriculum perspective and the engagement of it. Do I need to go in person and attend, or in the virtual world, can I be on a Zoom and have an interaction in the same thing? Especially the COVID made us everybody to be in virtual and make everybody to work together. So that was another one I was looking for it. Okay. Then the fourth one is the alumni network. I never heard anything wrong about it, and also there's so many novel lieutenants in UIUC. Of course, I'm not going to be the one, but the way you look into the college, and I frequently visit that college. In last 2 years, I visited almost like 8 or 9 times, including last week trips. So every month or month and a half, I go there, I visit the college and go around, meet maybe a couple of professors and come back. Okay. You can see why I picked the Gies perspective of it. Okay. Overall, going through that and looking into various aspects of it. Okay. Then I completed almost, I have only 4 credits remaining in next 6 months. December, I will complete my 4 credits, and then I'm graduating in December. So I already submitted my graduation ceremony for it. And December 18th, I will be with the cap. Okay. And again, it helped me a lot from the transformation perspective and how I think through it. Now I can stand, as Troy mentioned before, the tools and the techniques, what we learn, we are directly taking into the job directly. So you can see the difference. If just an example, when we are going through the financial management, I took some of the templates. I went to my office and I said, okay, hey, why are you guys doing all of this? Why can't we use this? It made a big difference. So it's like you can elevate, you can use the certain resources to elevate yourself. Okay. Again, my goal is to move levels up. Okay. Again, it's a virtual and we are online. That doesn't mean we are not going to meet the people or we are not connecting people. Okay. The first thing is, let's focus about the peers. It's actually the global exposure perspective. We have multiple things. Kate, you can click all of those. Okay, these are all the various events happens in US as well as outside of it. You can see all these events are a week to 2 week long, depending on when it is. This is also covered as part of your capstones. Okay. So one of the event, if you go and attend, it will cover as part of the capstones. Okay. That is the first thing. That means you will meet more people than you are sitting even in a college. Okay. The second one, keep going. So it's actually diverse and talented cohort. Troy already touched upon this one. I was in multiple sessions and the discussions. I was with people who are the business leaders from companies who are doing the same course with us. And there are some folks who are actually not in IT, not in business. They are getting into that area. So it's a completely diverse group, and you will see the various folks from different languages, different subjects and everything. It's very good to have the talent and to discuss it together. Not like only same group is discussing on a topic. That's one of the main thing you can able to always get it from each of the group. You can think right now, 3 of us, we 3 has 3 different backgrounds. Okay. And then lifelong connections. You guys don't believe it's after I joined in a way, I met with so many folks. Through them, I was able to meet even the business groups for it, business departments and all those things. These are all the connections we keep on. We still will have all the weekly calls and bi-weeklies. We discuss it, you build the business relationships as well. Okay. It's good teams and professors and college students, and everybody will be part of it. Okay. The next one, again, all of you guys know it as part of the college prestigious, and it has a good alumni, and you can able to reach out to the groups. There is an alumni group as well. You can always be in connect. Not last but not the least one, we always will have a local chapters where people will go and meet various folks. You can see here some of the things. We go to the restaurants and we visit the colleges and we go and meet. Actually, this guy is the CIO of a company in Milwaukee, the first picture. So I connected through to the group and we went for a golfing. And I shouldn't say it, currently I'm making almost $3 million for my company, just as a project of it. It's a good, definitely, right? So it helped me in a way for connecting for it. Okay, we connect almost every week. I won't say weekly, monthly kind of thing. Okay. So these are all the main things what we discussed. You have an exposure, you have a diverse group of it and talent perspective. You create the connections, you have a good alumni group, and definitely you're not missing any entertainment or social connections as well. Okay. And then the faculty perspective, where I think Troy already touched upon, there is office hours. If you are a 4-credit course, generally you will have 3 to 4 office hours. Each office hour will have 2 hours. So even if you don't have any questions, my suggestion is go and join. You will learn so many things. There will be people coming up with questions. Professor will discussing it, giving you a thought-provoking aspect of it. Okay, you will see completely a different view of it. It's a one-on. Maybe a very few people will be there in that group. You can have those discussions. Then another one is professor. It's not like you have only in office hours or anything. And then emails, they will communicate. And an LODIG, which is a discussion forums. You enter an LODIG, some queries, they will respond it. There are various ways you can able to connect with the professors and the faculty, including the TAs as well. Okay. The next one is the support perspective. This is really good thing. If I have any issue of it, if I need some clarification, reach out and immediately I'll get a support. What resource I need to use, who can able to help, where I can able to get it. It's very quick from the professor's perspective. Okay. The last one, it's actually the teaching method. I generally, from my career perspective, I like the case-based learning rather than just taking the textbook and reading it. They'll give you the real-time scenario. You execute it, you go through it. Okay. So case-based method is always a better thing. So that is what exactly I like this program. And I haven't experimented like Chelsea. So I directly joined through one of my friend. He said, okay, hey, I'm doing this one. I trusted him, moved on. Okay. And what did I got? So after I joined, I'm at end of the course. As I told you guys, career perspective, I already expanded with my responsibilities. I took the financial management responsibility in my company, which I was not before because they were not considering for those things. Now that is one of the things which I was able to expand. The second thing, as soon as you get into the network, as I said before, I was able to connect with the CIO. So there are like that people I know it, people who got the job opportunities connecting with the main groups of it. Okay, it's very easy, and also there are various resources that will help you to look for the jobs perspective. The last one, I was an entrepreneur, so I looked into the success and failure as well. And the course which I liked here, there is a separate entrepreneurship. So that was my specialization. I took it. I loved it. Everything what I got it, everything. As I mentioned again, the lifelong network. That's what you will never forget, right? Which you need always. Okay. So I already made something out of my what I paid. I got more than what I paid. Let me tell you that in the salary perspective and career perspective.
Thanks,
So
Dinesh. That was great. Really great perspective on how it affected your career and all of the networking opportunities that we have within the program. So thank you to all of our ambassadors for presenting. I want to open it up now for questions. I know we have some, I think there's hopefully a couple of questions in the chat. I also have some questions that you submitted ahead of time through your registration form. So I think I'm going to stop sharing and maybe pause and have a little bit of a discussion with some of the questions that you presented. The first one that I wanted to talk about is is there an aspect of the program that you didn't expect to be as useful or impactful as it has been? Does anybody want to take that one?
I can
I
take
can-
it.
Right.
Want to go
Okay.
ahead, Chelsea? Go ahead. Go
Oh,
ahead.
Chelsea.
Well, I touched on the networking aspect, but one thing that I think is amazing is the accessibility of the professors. I did not expect to have much interaction or much connection with being such a big school and just being online. So that has been a surprise to me, a happy surprise. So. Dinesh?
Mine was actually, I would say, on the negative side, one point of it. It's not too negative of it. So I was an entrepreneur. I was going through it. For one of the course, it's actually one session of it. I felt like, okay, hey, I was going through all of this. I know it. But when they threw the case in front of us, I didn't know anything. So I was thinking like, okay, I know certain things and I went inside, but I learned more of this. So you may think negative, but it's really impactful of it.
Absolutely.
We got a cases even about the Burt's Bee lip balm itself.
Yep.
We don't know in MBA do we really need to do it. Go ahead, Kate.
Well, there's a question in the chat. Are there groups where you can get advice or direction to boost your own business or your ideas? Can someone talk about that? Maybe like add in a little bit about workplace possibly?
I can share on that. I would, you went exactly where I was going to go, Kate. It's workplace. It's the social media platform for the folks in Gies College of Business. And it's everything from I need some help with a class to, you know, we're building, you know, we're meeting on Friday night in, you know, in Tokyo, you want to get together to, hey, I've got a business idea or I've got a job opening. But that's a great place to float an idea for a business or an idea that, hey, look, I'm thinking of adding this, a bolt on to my business opportunity or whatever the case may be. So absolutely. And there is such a diverse group of folks and some brilliant minds that you'd be surprised within an hour, you've got 10 comments and all 10 are from very astute individuals with very diverse backgrounds. And you've got a very holistic view of how to look at your business idea. I'm like, wow, I didn't think of that. Or, you know what, I'm going to go with it. Or, hey, let me revisit this. So that would definitely be the platform I'd float it.
I'll just add on workplace, it's not just this wide open platform. There's also niche groups that you can join based on interests as well. So that also helps make the experience seem smaller and more personal is when you're, you know, there's a lot of regional groups. So you're meeting in person like Dinesh talked about to even, you know, there's, I think Pets of iDegree is probably one of the most active groups on there. So sharing pictures of our cats and dogs.
Yeah, a lot of fun is had on workplace, but as you said, there's study groups, there's people job searching. It just really brings our students together and it's for the students, like our staff, our leadership team. We don't really get too involved on the workplace because it's for our students. And going a little bit along, I think it was Jonathan's question. I've lost it now, but his question was about, are there like career advising groups and fairs? So our population is a little bit different than like an undergrad population where you might have that, but we've created workplace for our full-time working professionals that are the majority of our students. We also have other things like iConverge. Maybe someone can speak a little bit about that, which is a huge networking event. In fact, our theme this year is going to be networking. Has anybody attended iConverge? Chelsea, can you tell us, can you tell our friends a little bit about it?
So when I attended last year, the theme was entrepreneurship. So for the question in the chat asking about, you know, getting advice and preparation. So yeah, iConverge was, someone described it as a weekend spent with 500 of your new best friends. And that really is what it feels like, because there's this instant connection and bonding. And as I mentioned before, just the generosity of folks and being able to meet professors in person. And if you have the chance to see a live session even happen and appreciate the magic that happens, behind the screen or off screen. So yeah, that really is just an instant way to feel connected and grow your network, because everybody just pulls out their phones and you connect on LinkedIn. And when I get LinkedIn requests from folks that are in Gies, I instantly accept, because we share this same experience, and I would feel comfortable reaching out to anyone from the Gies program saying, hey, I see you work for this company, or someone who works for this company. Could I, get an introduction, or what do you know of that? So that networking, that is a really big aspect that especially comes from my conversion.
Jonathan, a couple other opportunities as well. We do have meetups. We have iConnects, which are typically meetups in specific areas that maybe our faculty members are going to, our leadership team, where we'll bring in some professional, we'll have like a professional speaker. So those are networking opportunities. So, I think that answers your next question. Are there guest speakers as business executives and from large corporations? Do you guys have those also within your live sessions ever? Where like the faculty member brings in some kind of speaker? Does that happen?
We had actually two, one in the marketing. So in marketing class, we had one of it. And the second one was about the business development, BADM.
Yes.
So those two, actually, there was a visiting professors and both were there.
Yes. And we had the same thing in one of my classes. We had a visiting executive. So great experience.
Yeah.
Okay. One question from Chaitra earlier. Is this course helpful if you want to start a company? Would it give you the required skill sets along with boosting your confidence? Like, let's talk about the IMBA program, for example. Can anybody speak a little bit to that?
I'll take that one. So Chaitra, I was the main true example for it. So when I went through the entrepreneurship, so there was a course which is take you through the starting to end of it, how you can able to build your idea, how you can able to do the pitch deck, how you do the pitch, and somebody will evaluate your pitch itself. So it's completely start to end of it, except funding of it. So from funding, you can able to get some guidance from it, but except the funding, you will see the entire idea is developed from an idea to the pitch. So definitely that entrepreneurship, that is one of the specialization area that would help you to do that. And there is a lot of templates you'll get it, how to estimate your break-even point, how to calculate each of the numbers, and how you can go to an investor and give a number to your startup, to your idea.
Yeah.
So that's a really good, helpful one.
Okay. It looks like we've got most of those questions answered. One last one, experience with group projects. Does everybody in the groups contribute equally, and how do you guys handle those scenarios?
Yeah, I'll take that. The answer is no. And that's part of the learning, in my opinion, is how do you manage an environment like that? And, when someone is over contributing or challenged or whatever the case may be, I think that's part of the environment, and that's part of the skill sets you learn by being part of Gies in this environment is, how do you get along? How do you how do you collaborate? How do you build that? And how do you encourage teammates in a group environment? I've been in some, I've yet to experience what I considered a bad group, but so the quick answer is not necessarily, but I think that's part of the growth and the development that you'll get from a program that's structured like the program here at Gies.
Anybody have anything else to add to that?
No, I think we can go ahead.
I remind myself that the group work is not necessarily about arriving at the right or the best answer, but like Troy said, it's learning to interact and interface, because you work with folks all the time that you don't mesh well with. I mean, that's life. So it's just one more opportunity to learn in that regard with those soft skills.
Exactly.
For sure. Okay, I think we are going to wrap this up. I want to be mindful of everyone's time. We're right here at 8 o'clock. If you have any questions about any of our programs, I know we didn't get to too many like specific breakdowns of each program, but hopefully you had a great, you have a great feeling about our programs. And I think we have three great students from our program that shared really different perspectives on where they're joining from and the effects that they've seen on their careers. So please reach out to us if you have questions. You can check us out at, I'll go ahead and put my email in the chat. And I'm sure if you reached out on LinkedIn to any of these folks here today, they would love to chat with you more. We also have many ways to connect. If you go to our website, there's ambassadors that you can directly connect with as well. But we're really excited that you took the first step to learn about our programs here. I want to say thank you so much to all of our ambassadors. Thank you so much for putting those presentations together and taking the time to be here today. And I hope everyone has a great rest of your evening. And I'll go ahead and put my email here in the chat.